Now, the third point is about electricity tariffs. A lot of you are aware that based on the tariff methodology of the Commission, we do have biannual tariff reviews. And so far it has been 1st of July and 1st of January, every 6 months. And the reason for such reviews is very obvious for some of you who have attended our workshops and so on, because it's just not compliant with the law. The law says we should allow investors to recover their efficient operating costs and a reasonable return on their investment. So every 6 months we adjust what they are allowed to recover from customers, me and you, and in terms of the efficient operating cost and so on. So the tariff determines how much they can recover, and of course the energy they deliver and so on. So we have taken into account the fact that the performance agreement that was signed earlier between BPE and the distribution companies has expired. Decisions have been taken by the federal government on the state of the performance agreement. Now the responsibility for regulating the sector is squarely on the Commission without any restrictions arising from agreement that had been signed in the past. And so one of the things we did in this very room was a rate hearing where we invited all the discos to come back and say, okay, what do you need to invest, or what do you need to do to ensure that you continue providing efficient services, or you improve on what you are already doing now, and so on. And during the presentation, we also invited stakeholders as interveners to question the proposal of all the distribution companies. So they had requests to the regulator in terms of how much they will be charging, how much they want to invest, and so many things, allowed loss level and so on. And the Commission has reviewed all their submissions, taking into consideration also the input of the interveners, and issued a tariff order that was just posted on our website yesterday. So I'll just take an opportunity to mention 1 or 2, 3 things that is embedded in that tariff order. Number 1 is the tariff order contains the appropriate tariff that DISCO should be charging if they are to remain in business. And the rates are very clear in that tariff order. Some 110, 120, 130, and so on. Because DISCOs as distinct legal entities have different operating parameters, different efficiency levels, and so on. So on that basis, they also have different tariffs. So for the first time, we have published what they should charge. We have also published the amount they are allowed to charge based on government policy. Because government has decided for now, arising from the cost of living crisis and so many things, to, in the meantime, continue subsidizing electricity. So if you take the order, you will see that tariffs are not going up, but in the order, you will see what the DISCO should have been charging. You can also see in the tariff order the amount of subsidy the government will be providing to cover the gap between what they should charge and what they are allowed to charge, because that's subsidy. We have also included in the tariff order some provisions that will ensure that distribution companies pay what they are entitled or what they are obligated to pay, because DISCOs are in the business of buying electricity from embed and distributing to end-use customers, industries, and so on. So they have an obligation to pay for that energy. So taking into consideration the rate hearing that was held in this room, the government intervention, the order provides clarity on the obligation of the distribution companies. And obviously, any distribution company that fails to honor its financial obligation to the market will be subject to regulatory intervention by the Commission, as provided in the Electricity Act. We have also included in the tariff order the issue of who carries volumetric risk, because the models so far in the past, there are projected quantities or megawatts that are projected to be provided over the next 6 months. And the variations or deviations from the projected quantities are now risks that sit with MBED that is responsible for buying. Now the new order provides the discourse have an obligation to go and find the energy beyond MBED. The provision has always been there, but now it's very clear that if you project that you're going to sell 500 megawatts and you only sell 350, the revenue shortfalls arising from that volumetric deviation is the responsibility of the distribution company. We have also included in the tariff order some obligations for discourse to buy renewable energy. You all know the hot topic of energy transition and so on. But not only energy transition, solar and many other renewable technologies have advanced to a level where they are competitive. And the beauty of this obligation is you do it as a better generation, you improve supply and quality of supply at a local level. The last point I want to mention is on the recent intervention in Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company. Some of you may have read that the Commission has removed the board of Kaduna and the management, the MD of Kaduna Electricity Distribution, essentially putting Kaduna Electricity Distribution in administration. And the reason why this was done has been very clearly articulated in our earlier publications. Kaduna has been in recurring default in its obligation to the market. It's not only Kaduna, but the case of Kaduna is an extreme situation. And we clearly saw a risk that this particular public utility may pull the entire market into crisis, liquidity crisis. We have continued to manage liquidity crisis in the industry, which has inhibited growth of the industry and even improvement of supply. And so any utility, starting with Kaduna, that has continued to default by virtue of the powers vested on the Commission will intervene without recourse to anybody. So this is a summary of talking points to stimulate conversation with the press. I have my colleagues here to support in the engagement, and the floor is open for question and answers. Thank you very much.